Imagine a map drawn over 500 years ago, showing a coastline that should not exist. Detailed, ice-free, true to modern satellite surveys. A truth so dangerous, it was buried beneath centuries of ice, scrolls, and silence. What if this map came from an order swearing secrecy? One that has survived in hidden monasteries, vaults, and cryptic sea journals. What if the Templars or their successors preserved knowledge of Antarctica before the ice claimed it all? Tonight, we go beneath the ice, behind the lies, and into the dark, cold heart of history that powerful men have worked hard to keep hidden. They sailed into the southern darkness centuries ago. Instruments creaked. Stars were their only maps. Somewhere beneath miles of ice and the silent weight of time lies a coastline, white, jagged, uncaring, that no man living would claim for many centuries. But once, someone mapped it. Not by guess, not by myth, but by seeing. And the ghost of that map still haunts our libraries, hidden in leather-bound volumes, faded ink, forgotten scrolls. If you listened closely, you might hear the echo of its compass rose in the groan of glaciers, in the pulse of radar probes, in the silence when snow falls in Antarctica. The mystery begins with the Piri Reis map of 1513. An Ottoman admiral, Piri Reis, compiled a world chart from dozens of older maps. He had never seen Antarctica. No one had. Yet on his parchment appears a southern coastline, eerily matching the shape of Antarctica's northern edge. Even stranger, it shows the land ice-free, with bays, capes, and mountains that are now hidden under over a mile of solid ice. This isn't conjecture. Modern radar mapping of Antarctica's bedrock, BedMap, confirms the same features. Mainstream historians claim coincidence, distortion, or misinterpretation, but the map's accuracy suggests something else. Advanced geodesy, centuries before chronometers, satellites, or modern navigation existed. If Piri Reis truly compiled his map from ancient sources, then someone had mapped Antarctica when it was still free of ice, tens of thousands of years ago. This defies accepted history, but the evidence refuses to melt away. And it is not the only map. Other portolan charts from the 14th, 16th centuries show accurate longitudes, strange southern coasts, and star orientations inconsistent with known medieval knowledge. They appear too advanced for their time. Then they vanish. No progression, no predecessors. It's as if someone inserted fragments of advanced cartography into history, then erased their origins. Who could have done that? The Knights Templar were born in the 12th century. They were sworn to poverty, yet became the richest order in Europe. They invented early banking, they commanded fleets, they advised kings, and then feared no one but God. But what made them powerful was what they found. While stationed in Jerusalem, the Templars established their base on the Temple Mount. But they didn't just build, they dug. For nearly a decade, they tunneled beneath the ancient ruins, through chambers sealed since Solomon's time. Witnesses described guarded convoys emerging from the tunnels carrying objects wrapped in black cloth. What those objects were, no one knows. But the Templars changed after that. They rose from warrior monks to an unstoppable empire. Within decades, they owned castles across Europe and ships on every sea. Then, they vanished. In 1307, France's King Philip IV destroyed them in a single night, arresting hundreds, burning many alive. But when his soldiers raided their vaults, they were empty. The treasures and archives were gone. Survivors fled, some to Scotland, some to Malta, and many to Portugal, where they became the Order of Christ. It was this order that launched the Age of Discovery. They funded Henry the Navigator. They trained Vasco da Gama. Even Columbus may have used maps from their secret archives, and scattered among old Templar-linked noble houses are strange relics. Sea journals written in cipher. Star charts that only make sense from polar latitudes. Maps of lands beyond the wind with white coastlines and black mountains. One such journal from Malta describes a land of eternal silence beyond the winds, where the stars shift unnaturally and the sea stands frozen like glass. If that sounds like Antarctica, it might be because it is. Modern science is slowly catching up to the legend. Radar scans have revealed massive mountain ranges under Antarctica's ice, as large as the Alps. Ridges and valleys form patterns so sharp they almost look engineered. Ice cores from Lake Vostok, sealed under 2 miles of ice, contain pollen volcanic ash traces of microbial life. These prove Antarctica once had forests, lakes, and ecosystems. A warm, habitable land. Satellite gravity scans found vast dome-like bulges and strange voids beneath the ice. Thermal scans detected unexplained heat sources, as if something deep below is still warm or alive. In 1973, a Soviet-American radar mission detected semi-parallel ridges under the ice, forming a grid-like pattern. Nature rarely makes grids. Civilizations do. Some scientists whispered, they look like ruins. Their data was classified, their careers quietly ended. So either nature made something impossibly geometric, or someone once built something there, long before history began. But if such knowledge once existed, why do we not have the maps? Because throughout history, the dangerous is always destroyed. The Library of Alexandria burned. The Crusaders sacked Constantinople in 1204 and looted its libraries. The Catholic Church erased the Gnostics and Cathars. Heretical scrolls were burned, forbidden, vanished. This isn't random loss, it's a pattern. Where we expect gradual cartographic development, we see silence. Then suddenly perfect maps appear from nowhere. Then silence again. Historians call this missing scaffolding. The cathedral survives, but every step of its construction is gone. This silence is not proof of conspiracy, but it is proof of control. Knowledge has gatekeepers, and the maps of Antarctica may have been locked away long ago, in vaults, in monasteries, in secret orders. Perhaps they still are. Here is what chills me most. I don't think the Templars built cities under the ice, but I think they preserved something older and feared what would happen if the world knew. If they found ancient scrolls under the Temple Mount, they may have seen them not as history, but as prophecy. So they hid them, encoded them into rituals, carved them in secret symbols, passed them silently from hand to hand across centuries. When their order fell, survivors fled to Portugal. The Order of Christ funded the explorers who discovered the New World. But what if those explorers were really looking for something else? Columbus wrote cryptically about lands beyond the horizon, shown on maps not of this world. Maybe he had a Templar fragment, and maybe he lost it. Maybe others didn't. If undeniable proof of an advanced pre-glacial civilization emerged, it would shatter everything. Religion, history, power. Who controls the story of humanity, controls humanity. Maybe that is why the Antarctic Treaty was signed in 1959, by nations who agree on nothing else. They agreed to keep Antarctica untouched, closed, silent, because perhaps something is buried there. And if it rises, the world will change. There is one last secret. Near Wilkes Land, satellite scans revealed a massive, perfectly circular structure buried beneath the ice. A gravitational anomaly. Some call it an asteroid impact, but others call it something else. The Hidden Dome. Its symmetry is unnatural, Its boundaries are sharp, clean, precise, and it has not shifted for centuries. In esoteric traditions, domes symbolize sacred vaults, temples, and the word temple shares its root with Templar. Could it be coincidence? Or is the hidden dome the true frozen temple, the axis mundi, the center of the world, where heaven touches earth? If the Templars believed such a place existed, they might have passed down its coordinates, disguised as symbols and coded in rituals buried in time. And maybe that is why the ice is guarded, not to protect the world from Antarctica, but to protect Antarctica from the world. I believe there is something genuinely compelling in the idea that parts of Antarctica were known in ancient times, in ways far beyond what mainstream history accepts. Modern findings, ancient riverbeds, buried mountains, hidden heat, lend credibility to the notion that our knowledge of antiquity is incomplete, that many pieces have been lost, hidden, or deliberately silenced. While I am cautious about calling it supernatural, the possibility that powerful orders preserved fragments of ancient mapping knowledge, even symbolically, cannot be dismissed. To me, the most chilling possibility is not that there is a lost temple or city under the ice. It is that so much knowledge has already been lost, and that we live believing perhaps too little, too late. And that ice, cold as oblivion, may either be our greatest archive or our final tomb. When the stars shift above a cathedral of snow, and the auroras fold like veils across the black sky, ask yourself, are you seeing the end of the world or its beginning? Maps are supposed to tell us where we are and where we have been. But the further back we look, the more the trail dissolves. The ancient world left countless myths, monuments, and fragments, but its maps are mostly gone. This silence is deafening. We know Babylon mapped the stars. We know the Greeks measured the Earth's circumference with astonishing accuracy. We know Phoenician sailors circumnavigated Africa 2,500 years ago. We know Egyptians charted the Nile and Mesopotamians recorded coastlines. And yet, not one of these cultures left us a single complete map of the globe. Why? Some say time eroded them, but countless lesser scrolls survived. Shopping lists, tax records, weather tables. Why did the most valuable documents vanish? Consider this. The Peary race map is not just anomalous because it shows Antarctica. It's anomalous because nothing like it exists before it, and nothing like it exists immediately after. No progression, no predecessors, just an island of impossible precision, and then silence. Historians call this a data gap, but silence is not always absence. Sometimes, silence is design. There are whispers of a Carta del Londo described in a lost Jesuit inventory, a map that showed southern continents ringed in white and crowned with black peaks. It allegedly vanished from the Vatican Library in 1943 after 2 German Jesuits requested access and never returned it. The folio entry was later scrubbed. There is also a reference in a letter from 1477 describing items for polar storage. On a shipping manifest from Lisbon, its delivery location smudged but just legible enough to read, Tamar. Tamar, the stronghold of the Order of Christ, the Templars' final refuge. Could the Templars have held maps the world was never meant to see? Maps so dangerous they were not destroyed but buried? The surest way to hide a secret is not to burn it. It's to make sure no one knows it exists. If Antarctica hides anything, it hides it well. Under 3 kilometers of ice lie mountain ranges taller than the Alps, rivers carved before humanity existed, and voids of black space, air pockets larger than Manhattan. In 2018, scientists discovered one of these voids under the Ross Ice Shelf, a cavern the size of a skyscraper, completely sealed, completely dark. The radar echoes showed smooth surfaces, as if something hollow lay beneath. The team released only a single paragraph about it. Then, silence. One member later resigned, claiming ethical concerns. No details, no interviews. Then there is the Wilkes Land anomaly, a gravitational irregularity 300 miles across, buried under 1 mile of ice. Some say it is the remnant of an asteroid strike. Others whisper, it is a dome. The data shows sharp edges, a perfect circular boundary, and density readings inconsistent with natural rock. It reflects seismic waves like hollow metal. Nature does not build domes that large. Humans do. Or something did. What if the Templars were never searching for Jerusalem's treasures at all, but something older, something they believed lay at the axis of the world? If they recovered even a scrap of ancient navigation data, a set of coordinates, they could have encoded them, hidden in symbols, in rituals, in geometry carved into cathedral floors. And when the church turned on them, they fled, taking the coordinates with them, waiting for an age when ships could sail south, when men could pierce the ice, when the door could open again. Perhaps that is why Antarctica is not conquered, but sealed. Not claimed, but guarded. Not mapped, but forbidden. Knowledge has gatekeepers. In 1204, Crusaders didn't just sack Constantinople. They burned its libraries, thousands of scrolls, and gone in a single night. The Vatican archives contain miles of locked shelving. Much is mundane. Some is forbidden. Access is nearly impossible. Among the known hidden categories are: few know what's inside, fewer speak of it, and those who do disappear from the record. In Portugal, the monastery of Tomar, Templar stronghold, has sealed chambers visitors cannot enter. Local legend says one chamber contains a map painted on the ceiling, showing a world as it was before the flood of forgetting. That phrase, the flood of forgetting, appears in scattered Freemason writings centuries later. They speak of a time when the Earth's poles shifted, when the oceans rose and swallowed civilizations. Only fragments survived, guarded by the Order of Silence. Could this order have been the Templars, or their heirs? Silence is power. The less people know, the more you can decide what truth is. Maybe that is why the Templars never declared what they found. Maybe they feared it would break the world, or break them, and maybe that is why they passed their silence on. To the Jesuits, to the Freemasons, to secret hands funding expeditions today. The silence is not ignorance, it is control. The ice is thinning. Satellite images show parts of West Antarctica losing hundreds of billions of tons of ice per year. Rivers are awakening under the ice sheets. Ancient lakes are rising toward the surface. If something is buried, the ice will not hold it much longer. This terrifies me more than anything, because the question is not only what we will find, but what will awaken with it. Inside that ancient ice are microbes older than humanity, viruses locked away for millions of years. We have no immunity to them. We do not even know they exist. If explorers stumble on ancient vaults or ruins, they might not just uncover relics, they might unleash plagues. And if they uncover undeniable proof of a lost civilization, the psychological shock could break our world. Religions could collapse, governments could fall, history itself would fracture. And if the Templars' descendants or their modern inheritors already know this, they would do anything to stop it. Perhaps this is the true purpose of the Antarctic Treaty. Not to preserve nature, not to protect wildlife, but to keep the vault sealed. To stop us from opening a door we are not ready to walk through. Because once the ice opens, it will not close again. And when that happens, we may finally learn the truth. Or we may not survive knowing it. The ice is breaking. Satellite feeds show it now. A black fissure across the Ross Ice Shelf, growing miles each week, swallowing radar stations and drone buoys whole. Underneath, something glows. The expedition began as science. It ended as silence. 3 nations, officially rivals, sent a joint team: engineers, glaciologists, and soldiers in unmarked suits. They didn't broadcast coordinates, but the data leaked: 77 degrees south, 140 degrees east, Wilkes Land, the place of the dome. I wasn't supposed to be on the flight, but secrets rot faster in silence, and I needed to see it. We landed on nothing, a plain of endless white. The ice hummed beneath our boots, a deep, steady pulse, like the breath of something asleep. Drills sank through 2 miles of ice. Lasers scanned the black void below. Then, the ice collapsed. A shaft opened, smooth and circular, descending into darkness like a well drilled through time itself. The walls were glassy, not ice, not stone, as if the glacier had melted and refrozen around something that didn't belong. We lowered a camera drone. It didn't hit bottom. It kept falling, its lights catching on angles, right angles, polished surfaces. Then, a flash. The feed cut to static. When it returned for 1 frame, less than a second, we saw it. A door. Not stone, not metal. Something darker, black like obsidian, rimmed in glowing white glyphs. And at its center, a sigil, 2 concentric rings, a cross between them, the Templar cross. Before anyone spoke, the ice around us screamed, a deep, wrenching crack. The shaft closed, swallowed itself, as if the glacier had never opened. The instruments flatlined. The wind died. We were alone again on a blank white world that pretended nothing had happened. They ordered silence. Every recording erased. Every witness signed oaths of national secrecy. They called it an icequake. They called it a mirage. They called it nothing. But I know what I saw. It was not a ruin. It was not debris. It was a door, and doors are made to open. Weeks later, back in Lisbon, I found it. Hidden in the monastery of Tomar, behind a false panel in the old cartographer's chamber. A single roll of skin parchment, sealed with red wax and a sigil of the Order of Christ. The last map. It shows the world not as it is, but as it was, and will be. Continents shifted, oceans drained. At the bottom, where Antarctica should be, there is open land, green and gold, and at its heart, the dome. Around it is written in faded Latin, Terra Auralis, Centrum Mundi, Custodia Perpetua. The southern land, the center of the world, the eternal custody. Beneath that, a single warning in ciphered script. Decoded, it reads, "Do not break the ice. Do not wake the vault." It remembers. It remembers. Ye Templars did not lose. They did not fall. They did not die. They found something, and they built their silence around it. They became its keepers, not to conquer, not to exploit, but to contain. Because what sleeps under the ice is not dead. It is waiting. It waited through the flood of forgetting, through the rise and fall of empires, through the burning of libraries and the collapse of time. It waits now. And one day when the ice thins, when the last gate shatters, when the world forgets how to be afraid, it will wake. And when it wakes, we will learn the truth. That history is not a line, it is a circle, and we are walking it again, blind, toward the beginning. When I left Tomar, the last map was gone. So was the monk who gave it to me. His chamber was empty, cold, as if he had never existed. On the desk was a single object, a compass. Its needle spun, then stopped, pointing south. The world thinks the Templars are gone, but their watch has never ended, and the dome still breathes. Do not look for it, because if you find it, it will find you. We set out to find maps, but what we found were ghosts. Ghosts of civilizations erased by time. Ghosts of secrets buried under 3 miles of ice. Ghosts of men who chose silence over truth. And now, that silence is thinning. The ice is breaking. Ancient lakes are rising. Black voids are opening in the white. Something is stirring beneath Antarctica. Something older than empires. Older than history. Older than fear. The Templars are gone, or so we tell ourselves. But their watch may never have ended. Maybe they weren't hiding treasure. Maybe they were guarding a vault. A vault not meant to be opened. Not yet. Because if the legends are true, and that dome is real, then we are standing at the edge of the greatest discovery in human history. Or the last. If this story disappears like all the others, then the silence wins again. If you believe the world still has secrets, do not let this one be buried. Share this. Talk about it. Question everything you've been told. Because history is not finished. It is only waiting for someone bold enough to turn the next page. And if you want to be part of that search, if you want to stand where the maps end, where the ice cracks and the forgotten begins, then join us. Subscribe, stay with us, and follow the line into the white. The ice forgets nothing. It only waits.